In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your first Amazon RDS instance in the AWS Cloud. Welcome back to the Thoughtful Techie Cloud YouTube channel. If you're new here, on this channel, I show you AWS Cloud best practices and support you on your cloud computing journey. Let's begin. All right, so we are logged into the AWS Management Console. You will need an AWS account to do this particular lab. And we are going to first set up an RDS instance. So if you don't see RDS on your management console, what you can do is just search in the search window here under RDS, and then select RDS right here. Wait for that to pop up. Okay, we are going to create a database. Today we will be creating a PostgreSQL database. So we're going to scroll down to PostgreSQL. I'm going to go with this default version here, and I'm going to select free tier because I want to be cognizant of those of you who are on AWS free tier. So the resources in free tier will be selected so you can minimize any charges that you would get for this particular lab. We are going to set up the database identifier as, I'll call it the Thoughtful Techie Cloud DB. That's what we'll call it, Thoughtful Techie Cloud DB. Master username. I'm just going to call it master and username. Put a password here. Okay, let's see. Looks like that's two different lengths here. Okay, let's try that. Now, instance configuration, we're going to go with burstable. I'm in the Northern California region, so I have access to T3 micros. If you're in a region that doesn't have access to T3 micros, select T2s. And also, pick a region that's close to you. I'm in California, so I'm choosing Northern California. Let's see here. Okay, storage, I'm just going with the default here. Enable storage scaling. Well, we really don't need that for this particular demo, so I'm unchecking that. I'm going to throw this into my default VPC subnet group. I'm going to allow that to be the default. Public access, I am going to say, let's see here, no. I'm going to say no to this. And, well, actually, let me back up for a minute. So, in my particular setup, I have spun up a Windows virtual server that's going to allow me to run SQL Workbench to open up a connection to the PostgreSQL database. Now, if you don't want to do that, then you could select public access and then create a security group to allow that. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to say no to this because I have set up an EC2 instance running Windows that's within the same subnet as my RDS, or should I say, has a route to my RDS instance because it's within the same VPC, if that makes sense. So I'm going to say no to that. Existing VPC security groups, I'm going to create a new one for the purposes of this demo. And I'm going to call this demo Postgres SG for security group. Availability zone, I'm going to say no preference to that. Password authentication for the database authentication, we're just going to go with the simple password authentication for the database. Additional configuration options, initial database name, I'm going to say DB name for the name of the database because I'm super creative. DB parameter group, I'm going to leave that by default. Enable automatic backups, you leave that check marked. And I'm just going to say 1 day here for the backup retention. We're not going to be testing the backups, but this is just what we're going to set it to. Backup window, no preference. Backup replication, leave that unchecked marked. Going to disable encryption because, like I say, our goal here is just to show you how to create your first Amazon RDS database and then open up a connection to it. We don't need Performance Insights. Performance Insights is a service that allows you to tune your database and deep dive into queries that might be taking a little bit too long to run, those types of things. Enhanced monitoring. I am going to turn this on because when we open up a connection from SQL Workbench, I want to demonstrate that it says there's one connection open so I can prove out to you that we are in fact connecting to the database. Gonna leave the rest of these defaults. Log exports, nope, we're not doing logs here. Maintenance, leave that check mark. Maintenance window, no preference. Enable delete protections, going to be unchecked. Estimated monthly cost. This should fall up under the Amazon RDS free tier is available to you for 12 months. Yeah, all this should fall up under free tier. But again, after you do this lab, just go ahead and make sure you break it down. Okay, I think we are good to go. Let's go to, let me just review this because we're going to need these credentials to connect. Okay, everything is looking good here. Perfect. We can always come back and check this out later once the database is deployed. Okay, so I'm going to say create the database. And that is going to create the database. That's going to take a little bit of time to create, so I'm going to pause this video here for the moment, and then we'll jump back in. Okay, welcome back. Our database has finished fully initializing, and our status is marked as available. Now, let's see here. What we want to go ahead and do here now is we need to make sure our security group allows us to access this. So the security group is the demo Postgres SG. Let's jump into here, take a look at this. And let's currently look at our inbound rules. So I'm going to edit the inbound rules here. Okay, and notice we have no source IP to be able to connect to this. So I'm going to jump over to EC2 and go back to this Windows instance that I set up earlier that has SQL Workbench already installed on it. And we're going to go grab the IP address of this, the private IP address. So I'm grabbing the private IP address of this. And then we are going to go back to RDS. Okay, wait for it to jump back over there. Okay, let's go back into that DB instance. Our database, jump into the VPC security group. There's other ways we could jump into the security group, but just navigating here in this way. Let's go to edit those inbound rules. Notice it already has the right protocol PostgreSQL, protocol type is PostgreSQL, protocol TCP, and the port 5432. Edit the inbound rules and just throw this on there. Save this. Okay, we should be good to go there. All right. Now, what we are going to do is jump over to my Windows instance with SQL Workbench pre-installed and see if we can initiate a connection. Before we do that, we are going to need the endpoint to RDS. So let's jump back over to RDS and grab that endpoint. Okay. Now our endpoint is right here. I'm going to grab this because we're going to need that to establish a connection. So I copy that. And now we are going to jump over to the Windows instance. All right. Hello, Windows. Now we got SQL Workbench already installed on here. Okay. Now, I've got some pre-configuration from a previous test that I did. I know this is kind of miniaturized here, but I'm going to replace the previous endpoint from a prior test that I did in with a new one. Okay, so let's delete that. Make sure that's plugged in right. Okay, so that's right. Our username was master username. Let's type in that new password. Okay. Now, just for the heck of it, I'm going to jump back over to my AWS Management Console. And we are going to confirm a few things. We got our endpoint, we got our security group. Go back to our dashboard. Okay. There we go, configuration is what I was looking for. And we have our DB name as DB name, and we have the master username as master username. So all of this is looking good. Let's jump back over to that Windows instance. All right, let's try to establish this connection here, this JDBC connection to the Postgres SQL database. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. All right, we are connected to it. So I know nothing extremely amazing happened here, but you can't really see this because it's small, but we are logged in here. It was based on the username, schema, and the URL, which is the endpoint. Now let's jump back over to our dashboard. Okay, we're back over to our Amazon RDS dashboard. And what I'm going to do is select database, select Thoughtful Techie Cloud database. And there you go. If you notice here, it says one connection, which is exactly what we're looking for. So this is proof that not only we have set up our first Amazon RDS instance, we connected successfully to this particular instance as seen here by the one connection. I hope you enjoyed this YouTube video. I hope you learned a lot. Please do drop your comments and feedback below. Also, if you have any questions, drop those in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Thank you for your time and attention. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the Thoughtful Techie Cloud YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video.